find and retain them year after year as well.
Every year we invest, we make investments into our maintenance crews. We give them some first aid training. They get a chainsaw training every couple of years, a lot of other safety stuff. So it's just quite an investment on our part into our crews. So it's nice to have them around for a couple of years.
Yeah. If we could, pay them a living wage, then they're more likely to come back every year, and that makes us more efficient. If people are coming back, we don't have to train them, and they become better at what they do, and then we can just do a lot more maintenance out there. Yeah, I think I've covered all the points. So the next slide. Yeah. So what we're receiving right now is $45,000 annually from the Rec Commission. So there's a budget on the next slide, but yeah, basically the maintenance program, admin. So there's a portion of that budget that pays me as the executive director for like part-time year-round, insurance, accounting, equipment, and materials. And our ask would be to have this amount increased to $60,000 in 2025, but we already got our money for 2025 operations. But so yeah, if we received an increase, it would be for the 2026. That's what we're requesting. I think the next slide was budget target.
But yeah, just one moment.
Yep.
There's no sound on the other side.
No. Oh, maybe while we're waiting. Our trail system is quite popular with residents, becoming more popular as people find out more about our trails. That's we've got these brochures around town for sale. We hand them out free to people, and we've attained some international notoriety as well on our bike trails. One of our bike trails was declared to be the best bike trail in the world by Trailforks, who is an app which everybody has on their cell phones, the Trail Maps app. So, but they cover trails all over the world, and one of our trails in Bear Creek was called last year the best mountain bike trail in the world. Did that increase our usage the following year?
It's hard to keep track of how much usage. We put trail counters, but there's so many trails and we don't have enough counters for every trail. So we tracked usage on one of the trails. I have it in the statistics somewhere. 6,258 people rode by our trail counter between April 10th and October 3rd this year.
One trail.
On one trail. 6,250
Yeah,
people.
over 6,000.
Unless it's the same person doing a lot of
loops.
It's going back.
Yeah, but you go up to Mary Creek on a weekend in May or June and the parking lot is huge. A few years ago, we got money to increase the size of the parking lot as well. We're always investing in infrastructure to accommodate for the, increase in users as well. And that's something that we can apply for grants, one-time grants for those kind of investments, but also we do need more money for the maintenance.
Right.
Yeah. So budget 2026, so that would be with a $60,000 budget. So with $31,000 and using that money, I can get wage subsidies and leverage more. I could have a 6-person crew and pay them living wages and tools and supplies. Also, the cost of everything keeps going up. So we're just, bumping up those numbers because we are, building structures, painting kiosks, benches, tools. There's a lot of different things that we need to purchase every year. We also have a very motivated group of volunteers. And I also put a little statistic this year. Actually, in the presentation, I think I wrote in 2023, last year, 61 individuals volunteered 860 hours, and that's just on our Thursday night volunteer build night. So that's me
One
and
night
my
a week.
boyfriend host those. And that's like even me, even though I have a job with them, this is unpaid labor for me as well. It's just labor of love. And this year, so since I made this presentation, I have a statistic for this year that's in our newsletter. We've had 67 people, so similar, but 1,290 hours
Wow.
of volunteer labor. That's just our Thursday night volunteer nights. After work, people show up. So I averaged 3 hours per person per night. It's a little bit less when the days are short, but more when the days are long. And yeah, we've accomplished a lot. We've built a lot of new trails, maintained a lot of trails with our volunteers. So in the budget, we also have volunteer supplies because they work hard and every now and then they break a few tools. But yeah, other administrative costs, insurance has gone up as well. Accounting is not cheap. And then executive director, I just bumped up that number a little bit as well. But just an example, also, if you go to the next two. Yeah, so from 2020 to 2023, in 4 years, we obtained $390,000 in grant money to build new trails, purchase equipment, and needed infrastructure. So kiosks, bridges, signage, sawmill. And a lot of that grant money was obtained because we had a paid executive director. Because our volunteers, there is volunteer burnout is a thing. Especially, it's exciting to get a large sum of money to do a project, but the amount of reporting and all that is a huge amount of work. So having a paid position like mine since 2021 has really helped take that burden off our volunteers. They can do what they're passionate about and make important decisions at our board meetings. And then, yeah, I've created myself this part-time job doing the work that no one else wants to do. And but yeah, if you look at $12,000 a year, what it's been costing to hire me, and then the amount of grant money that the society got out of that, it's a huge amount of money. So really, really worth it.
We would not be able to run our society without.
It would be different.
It would be a lot different.
Yeah, Rick wouldn't be there anymore. He would have quit.
When Lawrence was there, he did it all on his own.
I know, Lawrence can vouch for the amount of work. And before I was hired as an executive director, I was an employee, and I would see that people were doing the payroll at 11 p.m., and emails were like after they put the kids to bed, and these people have full-time jobs. So yeah, it's really amazing to have paid admin person. So a little bit more, just to finish our impact, we have 3,200 members on our Facebook page. So yeah, our Facebook page is how we reach out to the community, social media, and 3,200 members. So that's a lot of people seeing what we do and supporting us. 375 people were paid members in the last year, 12 months. Rick said Captain Kangaroo Mary Creek was voted the best rated trail in the world for 2023 by Trail Force. So hosted 3 large mountain bike events since 2018, such as Single Track 6 and Trans BC. And each one of these events attracts about 200 people, and they stayed in hotels and with local businesses. So that's pretty big impact as well. And we've been trying to spend more time collaborating on projects with other community groups, school groups. Lawrence, you were a big part of that, of having the kids from the classroom come work on the trails, understand how much work goes into it, get them, getting their hands dirty. But also, we're trying to spend more time collaborating with other nonprofits to have a bigger impact in the community.
First Nations as well.
And First Nations as well. Yeah, so this year we have projects with CKIS, so the Central Kootenai Invasive Species Society, Kootenai Native Plant Society as well. we got a grant to hire Kootenai Native Plant Society to train our crew on invasive plants, and we bought native seed to restore the area after we brought excavators on Scatterville Reach. Coins, so the Circle of Indigenous Nation Society, we showed a movie that was about mountain biking youth, and we brought coins to talk about the impact of, having mountain biking for Indigenous people and that connection to the land. So it was great to have them, and Okanagan Nations Alliance as well. We're collaborating on projects with them at Dove Hill to restore the land. And the West Kootenai Naturalist Association came out and did a big invasive weed pull with us. So yeah, a lot of collaboration with the community. And I was telling Rick, I love these nonprofits working together, and I feel like it's when the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Nonprofits do amazing things for the community, but when they work together, it's really amazing. Okay, and then I had a slide with our team. See Rick Johnson. Sean Anderson has been there for a really long time as well. He developed our website and deals with a lot of the memberships, also vice president. Brandon is our treasurer. He's, you'll see him commute in town. He's got the little dog behind him. That's an e-bike with a roof, and he's got a windshield wiper. So he's obsessed with biking and trying to not drive his truck when possible. Zach organizes a lot of running events, and he's got a running club. Dave is my partner in crime, my boyfriend, and yeah, we're always out on the trails, always planning the next project, and he's our leader for the volunteers. Michelle is one of our directors, amazing photographer as well, so a lot of the photos are from her. Wayne, he's just a social butterfly, we call him. He's always
the snowmobile club, isn't he?
Yeah, he was the president of the snowmobile club for a few years. Yeah, he's a powerful person. Shondell as well. She organized one of the racing events and has kids that are also into biking. So yeah, we've got a really great group of passionate people volunteering on the board, and then I am the executive director. So yeah, I don't have any voting power, but it's a pretty cool little job that I have to help these guys out. There you have it.
Right, thank you very much.
For your time.
Or if I went over 15 minutes.
That's okay, I was listening, I wasn't looking at the clock.
Questions?
Commissioner Heaton.
Thank you. You guys do wonderful jobs. I've known once way back when I worked at BC Hydro and dealt with him in many things. It's amazing what you guys do with such a small group of people. And looking at your budget, it's all realistic. There's nothing, no big overhead dump of money you put in anywhere. It's all realistic, especially with, inflation and cost of living stuff and that. So yeah, it's good. So just keep doing. I'm one of those people on Facebook. I follow you guys. So good. Yeah. I see
Our page is
everything
very
you're doing.
positive. Like if there's so far, no drama in there, like positive pages.
And I love that you're doing the partnerships with other groups and that. And it really does take a village to get something done. And you guys are the stellar. I always think you guys are the stellar group. They just, yeah. So good job.
People.
Yeah.
Any questions, Commissioner Hager?
Well, I'm assuming that you've accessed like ready grants and stuff like that as well, right? And I understand that operationally you need core funding and then the rest of it you can get from other places. Totally get that. And I'll be joining your Facebook.
Oh, good. You should.
Yeah.
It's really been just a lot of positivity, which a lot of Facebook pages get into these downward spirals of rants, and our page is one of those that's really.
Yeah, the thing that I really appreciate about the trails is you don't have to have money to use them. You have a pair of shoes, you can go out and enjoy it. So it's a huge service to the community that you provide.
Yeah, and if you think about mental health too, everyone says spending more time in nature is just really soothing, really good for people with pets as well. You know, they love taking their dogs out on the trails and yeah, 24/7, 365 days a year. You don't even have to buy a membership, you know, it's open to everyone and that's pretty special. I was speaking with someone recently and even in Quebec, you have to pay to use their trails.
Mhm.
It's not here yet.
How much is membership?
It depends where, but in some places,
No, I mean, here.
oh, here, $20 a year.
$20 a year, or you can buy a lifetime membership for
$150
$150.
for a lifetime. So it's a good deal.
That is a good deal.
Yeah. And then it's easier for us because it's less admin if someone buys a lifetime. And lifetime is good. But yeah, so far people don't have to pay for trails here and I really want to keep it that way.
Agreed.
Commissioner Davidoff, welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
I understand that you're in a lot of meetings all the time.
We're bargaining right now, so I was a little late.
Yeah.
I wanted, on behalf of our constituents in Area I, soon to be known Sentinel Mountain, I just want to thank you for all you do. And I have a question specifically. We know in our surveys that we've done that the outdoor trail network and the outdoor amenities that we have that are not even RDCK, but supported through grants and everything else, are incredibly valued. It is a top priority for many of our constituents. Do you track, a question through the chair, do you track usage on all of the trails? And is that something you may have, did you already speak to that? Oh, all done. Then I don't need to ask the question. So you have, is that in the report or?
We have 2 trail counters.
Okay.
Which is not a lot for how many trails we have. There's one statistic on one trail, how many passes there were between certain dates.
This was supplemental then.
Yeah.
I think it would really help justify the increasing budget if we could have as much data as possible, even if guesstimates on the trail usage. And that's something that I always look at in terms of if there are 10,000 visits. Here, for example, the disc golf folks. I was speaking to them last week, and they said like what they're doing in Roslyn right now. They know exactly how many people have used their disc golf facility, and now they want to build the world's best disc golf facility, longest course in the world. Like they really got, which is awesome, and I would support that, even though it's in Roslyn, right? Just like we support Blewett right now for Morning Mountain. So that data I think is really important for us when we look at it. And if you show us that there are 15,000 uses of the trails or whatever it is, that goes quite a distance in terms of justifying support. So that's something, and I understand you only have a few counters, but Manager Kirk, I know, is moving, so I think he could speak to when we discuss this in budget-wise, we may have data on trail usage. So that just something would really help me in making a decision. Thank you, Chair.
Very welcome. Commissioner Beaton.
Just in response to that, Commissioner Davidoff, one trail, the Merry-Go-Round Trail, which is up in Merry Creek, had between April 10th and October 3rd, 6,200 plus people on it.
So that's in that.
Yeah.
Package.
And then I think it's in the past, and there,
It's in the.
yeah. And then where's your other counter?
Wayne had those statistics. I put that one in because that one was really impressive.
Yeah.
I have it somewhere. I can go look. Or Wayne, one of the directors, was in charge of the trail counter and he moved it around and he sent me that statistic, but I will try and get some more information from him.
And then just because Commissioner Davidoff, maybe just tell them about the #1 trail in the world.
Yeah, we we used to sell these maps, but a lot of people don't use these now because there's an app, of course, called Trail Forks, and it's used all over the world, and there's hundreds of thousands of trails in this app. And people can rate the trail when they use it. And in 2023, a trail in Mary Creek had the best ratings in the world.
Oh.
There's an article online. Yeah.
Oh, could you send us the article? Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I missed. Should have got.
No, that's all
Sorry, I just, those are.
very good information. Again, thank you for your presentation. I agree with Commissioner Davidoff. The more data that we have that demonstrates use is really important. I actually referenced that with our community groups last week at our special budget meeting. That, you know, when we see what's going on out there and you see the number of people, you know, it makes you think a lot harder when you're at the budget. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. It usually is just scintillating. But we will certainly understand if you want to excuse yourselves. But again, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
And then to send that article, do I send it to Jim?
Yes, if you send it to Jenna, then we can just.
Jen? Okay. So I'll send her the article and any other data that I can find as well.
That'd be awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you'll do that. And I only have one copy, but this was our fall newsletter. So I'm sorry the crossword was done already and grab the copy.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't hurt if you send that to us as well, because we're under. So I really appreciate any newsletters from anything that I assist with funding.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we send out 2 newsletters a year.
Oh, okay, that's not too over.
Yeah, so then don't look at the answers and you'll have to print a different copy for yourself. But if you want to read, Rick's president message or anything at some point, I'll send it by email, but I'll leave this copy here as well.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Do you want to stick around or?
No, I'm, I'll do it. See. Find something.
I'm waiting for a hike with my dog.
Well, I think he's probably already done that today.
Yeah. The dog over. Sorry, we missed you.
Yeah. Oh, I was told, I think Lawrence told me
Blahadat.
exactly.
What?
Blahadatman.
Wahadat Naya. It's
There you go. There's one.
Wahadat Naya.
Well,
Gratitude.
It meant gratitude.
Wahadat Naya is, I'm not going to give a Russian. That's near.
Hey, through the chair, can we just do a quick sound check?
Yeah.
Great, we can hear you. Oh, he's not on the phone.
Thank you very much for your time.
Well, he's on the
see
phone.
you again.
*6, I think, to unmute yourself.
Soon.
Can you hear me, Joe?
Just one more time, because it's pretty quiet.
Sound check.
Yeah, he's just. Keep talking. Yeah.
Don't
Are
say
you there?
Yeah.
We can see you like 8 feet by 8 feet.
They're just trying to see if they can get you louder.
Because my head's too big.
I'll try my cell phone.
Okay, just talk again.
I'll try my cell phone. I
Oh,
said,
you're good.
It's good.
That's
Yeah, you're
good.
you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to hear
All right.
you any louder than that.
All right, moving along. New business, 8.1.
Staff report.
Oh, sorry,
7.1.
jumped ahead.
You did.
Oh, come on, just to look. Well, how about if we go to 7.1 first? And we'll have Craig Stanley, Regional Manager, with his complex operations update.
Thanks. Through the chair, just one more time with a thumbs up, maybe, because it's actually hard. Thanks, because I actually can't hear you guys very well. So a couple of questions came through in the last couple of weeks. One about the showers and one about the concession. So I'll give some updates and answer any questions after that. But the shower situation, and thanks for raising that, Director Hanegraaff. The mixing valve, we have a single mixing valve for all of our showers, and those do need maintenance. And we discovered that there was some issues with the internals. And so from what I've been told, we've done some maintenance on the mixing valve. So we hope that the shower temperature is back to comfortable. Although I haven't had any feedback. I haven't taken any showers in Castlegar ever, so I don't know what that's like. And then the other, with regards to the concession operator has been in for several weeks. It did take a bit of time to get them in place, get the contract signed and provide insurance, work safe coverage, etc. They've gotten established. They've had a couple of a few wrinkles to work through with a shared use during the Christmas craft fair, but we worked that out with a shared use after that, and they've decided that when there are those shared dates, that they will just defer use to the renter until their event is over, and then they'll go in. And we haven't had any complaints, although we haven't had any compliments or anything positive come forward yet. I talked to staff at the facility today, and they haven't really heard a lot, but the concession operator is good to work with. They're very amenable to our request to make sure that they're doing their best to keep it clean, and certainly sharing the space is making it less challenging for us. And they've asked if they can extend already, but we'll give them some time to prove that that's something that we'd bring back to the commission for approval in the future. But that's the update. I'll answer any other questions about the operation as best I can in the meantime.
Commissioner, you should speed up.
So I actually went and ate there on Saturday, and it was really good. Really good service. There was a huge U11 hockey tournament here this weekend, and tons of people were eating there, lots of high fives. Yeah, it was good. Nothing that I saw was negative, so it was awesome.
Thank you.
Commissioner Davidoff.
Thank you. Through the chair to staff, there are two topics in 7.1, filter type and capital project update. Are you going to speak to those through the chair?
Yeah, through the chair, I can. Thanks for that, Director Davidoff. So filter type, I think I might have put my foot in my mouth last time when I promised Director Davidoff that we didn't use MERV 8s, but I did talk to staff, and we do use MERV 8s in a few situations, mostly MERV 10s, and it all depends on the application. But anything higher is unnecessary for our type of facility, as for the operations staff, and in fact in Creston there is very few anything above a MERV 10. So that's our filter type, and I can get you a more definite list from staff. It was just a kind of a qualitative and quantitative assessment. Capital update: the roof coating project. A little bit out of our control. The contractor had put in the bid, and we had awarded the contract way back in June, I believe, and they had actually signed the contract in July, and they didn't mobilize to site till very late in the season, and the material that they're using on the roof requires a certain temperature range, and the longer we went into the season, we knew that it was going to be a bit of a challenge getting that material to work effectively, and so the contractor has essentially demobilized and removed himself from the site and the materials, and they have stored the materials in a heated storage unit near Janelle, and they've submitted an invoice for the cost of the materials as per the contract. We've been given advice by the consultant to pay the invoice. We have verified that the materials are on site in Janelle, and so the risk is limited for us to pay the invoice. But the bottom line is that the contract will be, and the project will be delivered in the spring. to no additional cost. So even though there's a delay caused by the contractor, they have not submitted for any additional cost for us. So that is planned to get done in the spring as soon as the weather makes it possible. Now, because that project came in under budget, we had a financial plan amendment at the September meeting, and we have reached out to a consultant to do the engineering and give us options for the insulation project, which was scheduled for next year. And so we have had a site visit and preliminary conversations with the consultant, and they are recommending a solution. The budget for the solution is about $350,000, so not including engineering and project management costs. So we believe that project is going to come in at about just under $500,000 next year, and we had budgeted $680 for it for next year. But the solution is a blown-in insulation in the attic space and a low E ceiling, so a low emissivity ceiling for the arena itself, which is basically an insulated layer that goes right below the arena ceiling, and then that allows us to insulate the arena space and use less energy to make ice, so it maintains our arena temperature. So that is the solution, and that's what we're going to be tendering early in the new year. And then the other project with the doors that we are still in the design process, we do have to retain architectural services for that because it's an exterior building envelope. And so we're just in the stages of getting that planned, and we'll be ready to tender the door project as soon as we get the design. As far as 2025, we'll come back to the commission at the January meeting with a plan for the capital, including those two projects, the one that was delayed, and the one that we started with the insulation. The big project, but the one that could be most expensive is the flat roof repair for above the aquatic or the offices that is part of the 2025 plan.
Chair, I've got 3 supplementals. I'll defer to Commissioner Hennegraff if she's.
I'll go last.
Just for the benefit of the public watching, can you give us the quick background on the filter? Because we've got filter and then we've got numbers, and I just want to make sure that everybody that's viewing the program understands what, just for clarity. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, through the chair, I'll try not to be too technical with this, although I'm not probably the one qualified for this. But essentially, the filters that we use in the building, if you can imagine, we have a lot of air exchange and air coming in and air going out, and so we do have a lot of air that we filter, and changing filters is something that we do on a regular basis, and some of those filters can be expensive. Certainly a finer quality, a higher quality filter with a higher number, let's say a MERV 10 or a MERV 12, I believe. Those are a higher quality filter, and they're more expensive, and they filter out more contaminants in the air, even some getting down to biologicals, if you can imagine. For our purposes, MERV 8 is a minimum standard, and we use MERV 10s in some situations. I don't have the confirmed numbers of where and when, but the operations staff have let me know that certainly we're in compliance with safety and the type of facility that we operate, and that's their approach.
Okay, that's great, Craig. It was just for the clarity for the public that it's now we use another acronym, HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. So thank you very much. And you've got 3 supplementals.
3 supplementals. So if anyone else that wants to go ahead.
Go ahead, Eddie.
Okay. So thank you, Chair. So through the chair, on the filter types, during the pandemic, the provincial government provided millions of dollars to schools, for example, to install MERV 13 filters. And the MERV 13 filters were the standard for biological sort of removal of biological and viral contaminant in the air. we have people here exercise, for example, the fitness room. That would be a very interesting place where you may want to have a higher quality MERV filter where you're actually taking out biologics. The problem with MERV 13, school district 20 had MERV 13 in all their HVAC units. They've gone back to a MERV 10 or a MERV 8 because the ministry allowed that to happen. And it says, well, why did you do that? And the answer was that the less porous the filter, the easier it is on the handling units. So what happens is that when you go to a MERV 13, it's really hard on the handling units, and also there's an additional energy cost. So if the public health officer doesn't order something, then they don't do it. And so some districts, because of their old handling units, HVAC units, air handling units, they were never did put in MERV 13 because their systems couldn't handle it. Their systems would actually just fail. So that's kind of the school district piece. But I look at the fitness room and all of the, it's a really a space where there's a lot of people doing a lot of heavy breathing. Oh, that sounded funny. But the key thing is that I think the association that we work with, I mean, it's something that we should look at. And what happens, even if it's flu, never mind pandemic, if you have people exercising, and some people come a little early, right, to exercise because they think they can work it out. And so that's something I think we should just look at, staff should look at, and that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, through the chair, because Craig, I, and actually AJ have been our senior project manager, both of them on discussion today about our push towards higher efficiency and those kinds of things, which are good. So just to know that sometimes we actually, as we're moving through what will eventually be the asset management plan and replacement of these things, those are the types of things that may change. So for example, it's not only that the actual design parameters of some equipment is like, if you look at even in your home, in your furnace, it will say use this filter, no lesser, and do not use greater than this. And the reason there's actually design parameters for that mechanical equipment. So the one thing I just want to be careful of is that we look at one piece of a mechanical system and do any kind of drawing of conclusions of it. It's actually quite complicated in terms of determining what filter in what application and what overall airflow. So usually for fitness centers, and Craig, both of us know that there is a standard for that air turnover, and the filter, the piece of machinery, and the size of the room all determines that. You change one of those pieces in there, and you actually change those whole entire calculations. It's why we have mechanical engineers, and when they're doing a good job, they get that right, or else there's lots of adjustments. But we definitely hear you. There's definitely, whether it be school districts or anything, indoor air quality is becoming a bigger piece. And as we know, there's actually something that is happening right now. We're seeing higher cases of pneumonia in children. Yes. And those kinds of things are bringing some different kinds of research into that. So we're definitely here.
I'm raising that it's emotional for me because we had our month-old grandson in the hospital for
I'm sorry.
For 48 hours trying to rule out. And it was really interesting. I spoke to someone else and they had their relative and sick children's in Toronto trying to figure out what was wrong. And at the end, nothing was found.
Yeah.
It's just really So there's stuff happening.
Yeah.
I just think we are on the side of taking care of our patrons. I think that's my bid.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another question. Unless if there's someone else.
Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, I'm on a roll. Yeah, thanks, Annie. Commissioner Hennegraff, sorry. The delay on installing the material that's now stored in a heated place. Over the winter, my question to staff is, over the winter, will the delay cause more damage to the roof that will require more work? And who's paying for that? Because we let the contract early enough. They could have done the work. They had the material. They waited too long. It got cold. Now, because of the cold and what the cold does to the roof, are we looking at even exacerbating the damage, and who pays? Through the chair.
Through the chair, the engineer evoked building system that we've hired. They don't believe, and they haven't raised it with us, that the delay would cause any additional scope of work or any further degradation of the facility, and the roof structure should hold. I mean, we haven't actually had that conversation, but they would have raised that with us, that the roof was in such a state that an extra 3 or 4 or 5 months would cause have an effect on it. So we don't believe that there is any additional cost, and certainly without being in an open meeting right now, I'll be careful what I say about the contractor, but the delay wasn't caused by us. As Director Davidoff said, we did put this out for tender quite early and awarded the contract with enough time to get it done by the end of September, and there were some challenges that we had with convincing the contractor to come to the site, but based on the change order that they submitted and the advice we've gotten from the consultant, there is no additional risk to the facility with the 3 or 4 month delay, 5 month delay that this is going to cause.
So supplemental to that one. Can we please have the engineers confirm that in writing, that there's no issue with this, through the chair?
Yeah, through the chair, I'll ask the project manager to reach out to the engineer and just give us some sort of written statement. Now they'll probably give us something that we can't take to the bank, but it will be in their best capacity, an estimate on the potential risk.
And my last question, supplemental. I'm sorry, Chair. Okay, so blow-in insulation is rodent heaven. We have neighbors with blow-in insulation. It's rodent heaven. They love blow-in insulation. Is this blow-in insulation going to be a foam that they can't live in, or something they don't like? Because if you give them the right blow-in insulation, they will populate it as fast as you get it in there. It's like just rodent heaven. It's warm. It's protected. Anything chasing them, they can hide. Whoever looked at that, through the chair?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Through the chair, the engineer didn't raise that as a risk. In fact, the original plan to spray foam was, based on the fire code, that we can't use the spray foam in the attic space because it's, I believe it's flammable. But the blown-in insulation has not been raised as a rodent risk by the engineer, but we can ask them as well. We're still in the low E ceiling, and the blown-in insulation is the concept they put to us for option 1, and we can we have said that is the preferred option, but we can go back with some more questions before we finalize the scope with them, as if there's an alternate material. Okay, so could we get engineering to look at that? Remember, the attic is the warmest place in the building, and with a nice bedding, I'd like to sleep up there. So that's the end of that.
Just the attic in the arena, but
Attic anywhere's the warmest place. Right? So thank you, Chair, for your patience.
Yeah, just a
Sure, Sabina.
couple of questions through the chair to Mr. Stanley. With the insulation, you said that there was potentially a cost savings on using the chiller, getting the ice colder. Do we know potentially what that would be, or has anybody figured that out?
Through the chair, a couple of things. The interesting thing, there's a study that we're just doing and is just coming to the board from BES, which was the greenhouse gas feasibility study. And one of their recommendations was a low E ceiling for the arenas as a way of conserving energy and less energy required to make ice and less energy required to we don't lose any energy through the ceiling. So it's essentially sealing the arena in. Now their recommendation was a $60,000 low E ceiling, but of course we, through the current estimate we're looking at $300,000. But in that report from BES, there are some figures that indicate how much power we could save. I don't have those at my fingertips though.
They'll be coming to us, so that's good. Yeah, just top of mind. And then because of the delay of the roof and now the insulation, is there any way that there's some synergies there, doing it at the same time? I don't want to get into the roof contract, but I'm hoping there's some penalties.
So go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, hopefully there's some penalties for them not getting the job done, things like that, right? So insulation, can they do it at the same time? So there's not a huge disruption.
Yeah, through the chair, those jobs are, the scopes are probably too dissimilar for the roofing contractor to do them. I think especially the low E ceiling is done by a specialized contractor. They can happen concurrently without a lot of conflict. There is some additional work that we're also going to install an access through a ladder, a proper hatch through the roof, but we can coordinate that. There shouldn't be any delays to either project created by the other project.
Yeah, I was just
but as far as go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just wondering if they could coordinate it together, like not do each other's job, but do it at the same time for less disruption here.
Yeah, they can happen concurrently as far as and we have the consultant working on both projects.
Perfect.
Yeah, I just want to loop back to the showers. Thank you. Thank you. For those of us that do shower and it'd be nice to have a temperature that wasn't either scald or freeze. So I really appreciate the quick response to that. I mean, when the shower is cold, you ask someone to go flush the toilets or something.
They charge more for that in some spas where you get the really hot.
It was probably, and that we have a lifeguard that's very diligent making sure everyone's had a shower. People get sent back. So, I really appreciate it. I'll be on Thursday or Friday and I'll be able to confirm that everything's okay, but thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Just one more question about the capital project update, Craig. I understand material stored in the heated storage facility in Janelle. How often is it going to be checked on that the temperatures haven't gone below the standard that it needs to be stored at?
Yeah, so they've given us permission to check on the materials essentially as often as we'd like, and so staff have coordinated with project manager has coordinated with the storage facility themselves for access, and the contractor has given us access. There is a bit of a risk in us releasing the funds for materials that haven't been delivered to site as per the terms of the contract. There are some performance, or there's a bond against the materials of about $153,000. The real risk is that if that material were to be spoiled or wasted, they'd have to reorder it, and that would delay the project. But we'll keep, one of the things that staff had said was ensuring that, because we don't have a warm heated storage for that much material, is just ensuring that that does get well taken care of, and we'll check on it as often as we need to ensure that that the material is sound for use.
Thank you for that. Not really my role to criticize the contractor, but
Criticize.
their lack of finish is now causing staff time,
Here.
which is frustrating. It's staff have enough to do without looking after something that should have been finished.
Here.
Thank you, Craig. That is not anything against any of the staff at all.
Yeah, no,
Thank
I didn't take it that way, Chair.
Perfect, thank you. So unless anyone has a supplemental to 7.1,
I think I've blown my number.
all right, we'll move on to 7.2, Castlegar District Community Public Engagement Update from Tricia Davidson. Thank you, you're up.
Thank you, through the chair. Well, Craig's a hard act to follow, but I'll do my best. So the goal of today is to provide a little bit of a verbal update on where we're at with phase 3 of the engagement project. So since the last time we met, there's been a couple things that have happened. So we've held 2 meetings as part of that phase, which was to kind of do some truth testing back with the public on the findings of the survey and to say, what do you think? Does this sort of represent what you thought your community might say, or does this resonate with you? So for the public's benefit, there were 2 meetings in late October. So one was at Terry's Hall, one was at this facility at the complex. Terry's Hall had 35 people. This building had approximately 100 people. And you'll recall there was a secondary survey that went out that just gives also people that opportunity to say, put something on paper, answer a few key questions, and see what we get back. So we did have 496 responses to that secondary survey. Just for everyone's interest, 56% of those responses came from the city of Castlegar. Oh my gosh, I need to do context. 25% came from electoral area J, 9% from the defined area I group of communities, and 10% from the, I guess, undefined group of area I. Is that the correct way to say that, Director?
So
David?
combined 19%.
Yeah, correct.
Correct, yes. Okay. Correct. Generally speaking, so just some high level comments, and we just got this yesterday, so I can't say I read it in extreme depth or analyze any of the information myself, but the key findings are, generally speaking, people from the city of Castlegar and area J, the findings resonated with them. Area I, it was mixed. It was a little bit of, yeah, it resonates with me that some of my community might not be in support of doing something different. And there's a part that then people said, yeah, no, this does resonate because it's in line with what I said. So I think that's kind of, it was an interesting sort of back and forth between the 2. I think what was sort of interesting, and I think is going to require some soul searching, was at one of the very last questions. Well, there were a couple that related specifically to taxation. So there was, you'll recall that in the information we talked about the different types of amenities that had been flagged as things that people were interested in. We kind of put some price taxation numbers beside that. And part of our exercise in the truth testing was to say, okay, you're saying that, overwhelmingly a secondary ice surface was of interest to people. Hey, roughly, this is what we think the cost is sort of looking like. What are you willing to pay in taxation? And those 2, increased taxation, do those 2 align? And they did not. And so part of the truth testing was to see if we could dig into that a little bit more. And what was interesting is, again, without a lot of detail, but when it came to, and kind of that secondary ice surface was in that 250-ish taxation increase per year at what we know of as today's sort of costing. And in the city of Castlegar, if your answer could have been yes, no, or unsure, 38% said no, 37% said yes, and 25% said unsure. So to me, there's a lot of people, and it was that unsure number that was somewhat interesting to go. And part of that sentiment was because the sample size is small. not necessarily sure.
Did you just say it again?
Can you
38?
say it again?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You did so fast, I know.
Well, we should give it.
Oh, you will, yes, you
Yeah.
will. We just haven't had a chance to finalize it.
So
Yeah.
7:38.
37 said, is it again?
So in the city of Castlegar, so to the question of, do you believe your community would support an increase in taxation of 200 to 250 for a secondary sheet? City of Castlegar, 37% said yes, 38% said no, 25% said unsure.
Jay.
Area J, 42% said yes, 38% said no, 20% said unsure. In the defined area, do you want that or no?
Combine the two.
Oh,
Well, it's
Yeah.
final,
I can't,
because they're separate.
well, because they're separate.
So
So-
define,
So the defined area, does that say 26 or 20?
Says 26.
26% said yes, 64% said no, 10% unsure.
we know Barry I has strong opinions. There's no waffling.
And then in, or
The rest.
undefined, yeah,
The rest of our area, so further out than Geneseo.
13% were a yes, 79% a no, 8%.
That's no
Unsure.
Janessa.
That's, yeah.
Okay, no surprise.
Yeah, so I think, to me, that is, again, so on one hand, we sort of, I would say, got what I think the message got across a little bit about saying, hey, what you've said you would like and what you're willing to pay may not necessarily be aligned, or there's certainly some question out there as to what we do with that information. So all of this will form, so this is phase 3 reporting. Ultimately, phase 1, 2, and 3 all come together in a final report. Like I said, we just got it yesterday. Staff are just in the process of reviewing it. It will ultimately come back to the working group and then back to the commission.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yes.
Can you tell us how many people responded to that in which group? Do you have that?
Oh, I could do the math. It might be in the more, like, there's a thicker
Okay,
version, just
yeah.
through the chair. Yeah, and I can do the math back to responses, but it's not specifically, it's like identified in this report. So, and I didn't do the math.
We can do the math pretty simply to figure it out, and it's not,
It's easier way.
if 56% of 496 is pretty easy to figure out. We can get a ballpark on it.
Well, you could probably do it again.
I don't know, 50.
We're bump it up to 500 and then you take 56 times 5, so it's 112.
I was just gonna ballpark.
Some of us have to get a calculator.
I'm gonna supplement your opinion.
You take it up to one level and then you can ballpark it. Maybe.
Never had wage increases that big to calculate.
I'm not a math whiz.
All right.
Science, I'm not a math whiz.
All right.
Any more questions of Tricia? Thank you for that.
So just when do you expect us to get that report?
Through the chair, I would suggest just knowing what's going on. I would say probably before the final report or the synopsis.
Synopsis.
I would say before Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Anyone else? Questions? No? All right. Thank you again for that.
Through the chair, just out of curiosity, how does that resonate with you?
Oh, but
Are
I
you
figured.
surprised? Are you shocked? Are you?
Yeah. No,
No, not
Just,
surprised.
not based on what we heard at the meeting here and the meeting out in Terry's. It's, it was a good exercise to go out and see the people and have the people come and talk to us. And we're hearing it, at the council table right now because we're moving into budget very quickly, right? So we're hearing it from people. So
and just when you talk to people, it's a toss up. Like you have those people that are so for it and then against, right? So when I talk to people, it's like 50-50, right? But it's interesting, 25% unsure. That's a high percentage of people going, I just don't know, right?
And through the chair, don't know the answer to that question is if the community support this level of tax increase.
Yeah.
And really the question is if it went to referendum for that project, knowing that this is roughly the cost based on what we know today, would there be a favorable outcome?
Yeah.
And I think that's they can't answer that. And of course, we don't know all the reasons why they can't, but again.
Yeah, I'm gonna, I thought it would be a little bit more positive in the city in Area J than what it was. Area I doesn't surprise me one little bit. The unsure is, what do you do, right? And like I said, we had a referendum in Area J that not that long ago that went down in a glorious burst of flames. It couldn't have failed much more miserably than what it did. So yeah, I'm a little bit referendum shy, I'm gonna say that. I think we're gonna have to sit with this and digest it, because it's a third failed referendum wouldn't serve anyone well, in my opinion.
No, that was just, and it's, it was just to try to see, like, are you hearing from your constituents similar things to what, that you don't see this as like, this is, the results
Yeah.
are not from left field.
No.
Not from what you're hearing. Okay.
Sure. Just, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, he's got his calculator.
Always figured that. Did I do okay? It's something, no. Did I figure it okay?
Yeah, you're close.
Yeah, I'll by a few points.
Yeah.
Decimal points. But I just want to thank the commission, and I've done this multiple times. I took a very heavy beating in the last referendum that everything was my fault, that Andy did this. I am really happy that the commissioners came to all 5 Area I community halls and heard from my people what they were thinking. And that's what I have been facing. This is my 14th year as a director, and I know my people. And so when I took that beating, I'll tell you, it really alienated the rest of the subregion. My people said, what happened to you is another reason why we never support anything with those partners. That's what I heard. So they may not even be voting because of the project. It's the treatment that Area I received on social media. It was vile. It was just horrendous. So thank you for coming to Area I and hearing for yourself.
You're getting interested to be out.
Yeah, it should have never happened. Commissioner Davidoff, but we are now where we are and we're gonna move forward. So that's where our, so I just want to say one thing that I heard too was a lot of people were unsure because they're like, if we go ahead with this, wouldn't you guys try to get funding up front before we went back to the community to see how much taxation? And I said, it's really hard until we have like a project that we all agree to before you go get funding for it from different sources and that. So to me, unsure that was some of it too. Is it really going to be 200, 250? Are you guys not going to go to federal government, provincial government to try to get some funding in that? So that's another thing too, that people are really unsure of, right? So that is something we have to kind of think about as well going forward.
So on the costing side, I want to make this clear, is that it's a class of estimate that you're looking at. Staff did tell us that they did build in the asset management cost. I can't remember if it was a class D, C, or B estimate. I think it was a C or a D.
You're at class D.
Class D. Class D estimate is the worst estimate. Class C takes lots of engineering and everything else. You're a little bit better, but I can tell you if it goes to Class C, it's no 200, 250. And if you go to Class B estimate, which is really a lot closer to what the actual cost is, that one blows the socks off people. So the issue is that going to referendum with the Class D estimate, which is what happened last time, I railed against that. I says, what are we doing? We didn't spend the $100,000 for the engineering to get a better estimate. And that's just fooling your constituents.
It's in the chair. I think in the past, in the regional district, we're maybe sometimes still in the past, but there was always a hesitancy to stay in the planning phase for an extended period of time. It was always, let's get going, let's get it done, let's get going, let's get it done. I think we could probably see that across many pieces, but the best practices of today are saying that you need to stay in the planning phase longer. You need to involve the right professions maybe in the discussion, but you also have to involve the community, continue to involve the community in the discussion. So just to know that lots of the best work being done is not from processes that are done quickly on the planning side. They're from processes that take the time to plan it. So we'll have some more information kind of on that.
I do have one more. I spoke negatively and I apologize.
Didn't authorize you to. Oh, I'm just joking. I thought we might need to lighten the mood a little bit, Commissioner David.
I have a positive thing to say.
Okay,
Very positive.
that's good.
Talking to my constituents and I'm saying, okay, so like we know where Area I is at. If there was an effort, all of Area H and its tax base, the southern portion of Area E and F, the city of Castlegar, and all of I and J, to build an arena at Campbell Field, which would be pennies on the dollar when you spread it over that tax base, it'd be like $100. Would you be interested? The answer was from many, yes, and from the others, maybe. The no's, probably a quarter. Food for thought, positive comment. Look at so staff,
I don't know.
we have had meetings, supplemental comment. Staff has done unbelievable amounts of work on this. They have all the numbers. They have all of the traffic flows. There's 20,000 vehicles a day at the Playmore Junction. They have costed everything. They have all the numbers, and they should present it to the commission because you haven't seen it. The new commission has not seen any of the Campbell Field work. Same consultants did that work. RC Strategies did that work for us. That should be shared with the commission as a potential option looking forward. In my humble opinion, I'll make a motion to that effect.
It's online. Like if you.
No, but
I've read it.
no, but I would like to make a motion to that effect. If there's a seconder for this motion, that staff present the Campbell Field feasibility study to the commission. There's a seconder.
Second it.
Thanks, Penny. So I've said my piece.
Commissioner Hanegraaff too.
Thanks. Oh, man. You guys are picking on me today, like I'm anxious as it is.
Or person.
Is there any discussion on that motion? I guess if nobody else has any, my only discussion is how much additional staff work would that be, or is it going to be a report that comes to us electronically, that we can just click on the link to get the information and repeat it, or somehow,
I think that's what the motion said.
well, that's what I'm just curious.
So the report is there, that report is complete. Well, I shouldn't say it's complete, the process stopped. I don't know that we got to the point where we said we were finished. So we could do a short presentation. What I would just be very cautious about is that really we are, right now, we're kind of in our all hands on deck and in the present of 2025 to 2029 budget.
5 years. So in the new year.
Look at the old one to see what the new one is. So I would definitely say that it would be at the earliest February if budgets went incredibly well. Yeah. So it's just,
So would you accept a
Friendly amendment, February, March commission meeting, anytime.
Okay,
Yeah, we're not going to be.
any discussion on it? Okay, call the question, all those in favor? Thank you very much. All right. Moving on. All right, now we'll get to 8.1, the one that I want to do first. Castlegar District Recreation Commission proposed meeting dates for 2025.
So moved.
No,
No, not good.
No, there is some discussion on it.
Yeah, so September 2nd, that's a council meeting, so we have to move that. We don't have to do that today. But yeah, September 2nd is, we just approved our council meeting. Do you have?
so I'd like to make a suggestion, because as I recall in the past, we haven't met in August. Me personally, I'm going to be in Spain in September, yay me. So I'm suggesting, rather than meet August 5th, why don't we meet like the 19th, or like in between, before your council meeting, but later than usual for August,
I'd like,
and then meet again in October.
Chair, I'd like to comment on that. I think what we have is for August, it's like a placeholder. We have canceled commission meetings if we had nothing to discuss. We have repairs coming, work in the summer. I think we need to have a date, on August 5th. And any, like, you did participate before remotely, so that is an option.
I'm not going to participate from Spain.
From Spain? Okay.
Oh, here,
Can I come with you?
Yes, no.
Take me with you?
come on, Eddie.
Come on. Okay, so all I'm saying is that's a placeholder. And if we change the September one to a week later, I think that's perfectly fine. Like, I would suggest that we move that to the 9th, which is again a Tuesday, right? Like we always have. So if we move it to the 9th, does that work for everybody?
I'll be in Spain.
Still in Spain.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah. Sue, does that work for city
Yeah,
council?
we don't have a meeting then. Yeah, we checked.
Okay. So that, I'd make the motion, then amend September 2 to September 9th
Just have August as.
and have August as a placeholder. You can put placeholder beside it if you want, but that would be a friendly amendment.
But that would be up to the chair to.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And then if, like you say, with the repairs going on, if we need to meet, we can meet, just,
And you got it in your count.
got caught up and all that stuff. So.
And just for warning, I'm in New Zealand for almost a month, so I won't be there for March 4th. Yeah.
What, you're not going to do it remotely?
No, it's like 21 hours ahead. No, it'll be kind of at night. It'll be kind of at night.
And,
You need a second, Chair, just.
Yeah, I'll second that.
okay, perfect. I might miss February 4th meeting, but we'll figure that out. All right, all those in favor? Thank you. Great. Number 9, public time. If there's any questions from the public, members of the media, We'll entertain those now. I see we do have one person online as well. So if you will go online first, I think, use the raise hand function. Are we in Zoom or?
We are in Zoom.
Okay, raise hand function, and we will call on you to get your question.
Server doesn't usually.
Yeah.
have them.
Just, well, you never know.
Invite.
We did get a request, so.
And is there any questions from the people in our room? Just state your name, even though it's been used a few times, just for the people online.
Yeah, sure, you bet. Yeah. My name's Lawrence Redfern, and I'm not sure if I have a question. A couple weeks ago, I met with Henny to talk about the process that you're doing with your recreation. Initially, I was pretty excited to think that we're looking at expanding recreation in Castlegar, but then it was immediately baffled by the path that we're taking. I've been coaching youth sports here in Castlegar for 20 years. I've probably coached about 45 teams, basketball, volleyball, badminton, and I coach archery. And the reason I'm baffled is because I also teach in the elementary schools. I've done for 8 years, grade 7s, 12s and 13-year-olds. This year I have 1 hockey player in my class. Typically I have 1 or 0. I have 9 volleyball players, all women, all girls. I have 16 basketball players. And those are the norms. And what happens for the volleyball players, and I'm really interested in seeing what happens to those girls. They go to high school, there's 100 kids in grade 6 and 7 playing volleyball. They go to high school and they have a team, so there's 12 playing. So, 90 of them are out of luck in terms of having recreation available to them. There is a huge demand for sports teams, like for sports club teams in basketball and volleyball, and there's 0 gym space available. They have no gym space available. I spoke with Kathleen Dempster. She's the athletic director at the high school. She's absolutely phenomenal. She's completely in touch with what kids are looking for. And here's what she told me. She couldn't get here tonight because she's actively involved with youth sports, as she always is. You can let them know we're bursting at the seams with trying to provide gym space for our students, that there's interest in youth sports in Castlegar and trying to run club teams. Nelson Hoops and other basketball teams are always trying to rent our gym. We cannot give them time as we are jam-packed with our own student teams. And Castlegar parents are also looking to run club volleyball, but we can't find gym space. And that's I'm one of those. I'm not a parent, but I'm one of the coaches that's looking to run, and there is nowhere to run it. Last couple of years, we've been really lucky to run archery in the Hills Pavilion with Lori's support. And I had a bunch of little kids coming for that. Last year, I coached the junior boys volleyball team from the high school at Twin Rivers because there's no space in the high school gym. So we have to come over. We also run badminton in Twin Rivers because there's no badminton offered at the high school at all because they have no space or time for it. So kids from the high school are coming and joining our badminton program. Every time I think about what could be at this facility, I imagine a gymnasium and hundreds of youth here all the time. Because they'll be here for basketball, they'll be here for swimming, they'll be here for hockey. This will be the place to be. Right now, it's like I said, there's 1 student in my class. In fact, she plays in Fruitvale or Trail. She doesn't even play when she's here. Because I don't have any boys playing hockey in my class. I got 1 girl. So it baffles me to think that we would spend this amount of money. And I go, who are we building this for? Because the kids aren't playing this game. The game that the kids are playing, I don't even know if we have an outdoor basketball hoop in town that we provided any. So the school provides a little bit, but the school cannot provide youth recreation, and they don't have a mandate to provide youth public recreation. So I would just love to see those 12 to 17-year-old girls have a place to go. There would be 50 teams playing volleyball here throughout the year. There's just no question what the demand is there. For boys basketball, it's the same thing. I was driving just home for a few minutes, and what do you see? I see 5 kids bouncing basketballs. And just as I drive from Twin Rivers over to where the bowling alley is, just that little bit through town, I see kids bouncing basketballs on their way home. And that's what happens at our school. Those are the games that are in today.
Question.
Let's choose first.
Yeah. Commissioner Sabito.
I hear you, Lawrence. I get it from parents all the time too. But the good news is about basketball is the Rotary Club, the Interact kids, have taken that on as a project. A location has been scouted.
Yeah.
There is a location in Castlegar that they can build. They started raising money already. And so more of that will come, but I would say reach out to Rotary to interact.
That's for outdoor groups.
Yeah, outdoors, but that's better than nothing right now,
Yeah.
because that's what they're asking.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, reach out to them about that, because that is happening. I've always wanted some type of multi-faceted gym in this area, even a blow up, the big domes that you see all over the place. That would be perfect to have multi, like volleyball and basketball and indoor soccer, all that stuff, right? But then where does the funding come from that? Where does that money come from that? And so that's where we're at. It always comes down to, as you hear, taxation, right?
But, sorry.
No, yeah.
Oh, no. This is,
Yeah.
yeah.
I also was aware of the fact we've had 2 referendums in the past. So, and
It goes next.
before the very first referendum, when I looked at the data, it looked to me like there were 3 times as many people who were interested in gym activities as ice activities. I never understood why we went down that path the very first time. We're not serving any of those needs. If you go, like I play pickleball at the college after school, it's full of seniors from Castlegar here that drive across there. Kids can't drive across there. They can't access that facility. So the college is sort of fills a bit of a gap for those of us with wheels, but otherwise it doesn't. And of course, I hope that college becomes a university and is packed with its own, its own students using the gym at some point. It should be.
Commissioner Davidoff.
Gut-wrenching to hear that for me. I'm an educator and we're failing our kids. There are sayings, listen to the children and they will teach you. I think that's what we heard here today. And I'm going to stop there because this is very close to my heart, what Lawrence has shared. Thank you.
Me and Lawrence had a nice long talk about it, and I've talked to the mayor about, because we commute to the RDCK board together. Point made is what I think. I agree that gym activities, gym sports are within reach for most families financially too, which isn't the case so much with ice sports. So, yeah, got it. I get it. Yeah, we have all this meeting space over here that isn't getting used.
Okay.
Yes.
Lawrence, what is it that we're doing in engagement that's not where those people are not coming out and participating? Because I think as staff, we were surprised not to hear more of that. I'm very much surprised, and I'm not sure. I know the facility definitely probably feels like a home to arena sports, so it's kind of like a sports turf a little bit, but I just wonder why we're not hearing that. I've heard a few whispers from people that would whisper in my ear at the public sessions. It's we're definitely hearing it a lot more in Nelson. We're not hearing it here. I'm just wondering, if you get a sense from the people that you.
So I can answer that. I really am anxious. I need
I see that, but I'm not going to interrupt Joe.
No.
Take on another question, but I got you.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I'm really concerned was that we're not hearing.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, because when I talked to Kathleen Dempster, who was the athletic director in high school, an absolute outstanding individual in terms of what she has done for hundreds of students, in terms of all, because when I came here 20 years ago, the high school had one senior boys basketball team, and that was it. All was there. Now there's rugby teams, soccer teams, basketball teams, and volleyball teams, boys and girls in every single age group. And they're full. They had 28 girls playing grade 8 girls volleyball because so many came out, they just couldn't bring themselves to cut 60 people. So they kept more, right? But she's amazing, and she had not responded, and she was not aware. So I guess it depends on if you're like I think I got 4 invitations to the survey. So I'm on the right list. So I knew what was going on, but she was not aware. And I don't know how that happens because I know you guys were making a good effort because I looked through all the material. Yeah.
Commissioner Davidoff.
You call a school assembly, the whole commission goes there and sits there and asks the kids. We prepare them ahead of time with working with staff, with Dempster and Lawrence and everyone else. Prepare the kids ahead of time for the meeting, do a lesson plan. We could work on this together. We're teachers. Lawrence and I will volunteer to work on that. We can whip it together, what, Lawrence, give us a week? Pretty much.
Sure.
We do lesson planning every day. And the key thing is that we could organize something in a week where the commission could attend and have a meaningful dialogue with a whole high school gym of kids. And then you will hear from the kids. And if it's a full assembly, every teacher will be in that assembly, along with the kids. We could do that at the high school, and we could do it at Twin Rivers with the younger kids, because they have incredible opinions. When I hear my little 7-year-old granddaughter asking me, you know, Mila, yeah, do you know that Trump won the election in America? I go, yeah. And she says, he's not a very nice man, is he? I says, no. I says, who's talking to you about Trump? I heard something. Okay. You will hear it from the kids. Pearls of wisdom, I'll tell you.
Commissioner Haydensters, Davidoff.
You know, it's a good question. Why didn't other segments of our community, right, participate? But when people look at this complex, they see swimming, small weight room, and the arena. It became a domination in the community that, yeah, you guys are tearing it down. You need a second arena. That's it. That's all the commissioners should be looking at. But there's such a wealth of other things out there. Every October I go and I talk to the international students at Castlegar College. They even have things, right, when they're here, because they're living here, you know, for 2 years or whatever now. They have needs as well, right? And so I think our focus has come very narrow in the scope of everything. It's like we're being forced, right? Because we're getting rid of that second arena. So, good idea. There's a leadership class at the Stanley Humphreys. That would be a really good avenue for them to do some research in their own high school, have it as an assignment, and then come back to us on what they learned, right?
This is you talk to all the kids, not just to the leadership kids.
Yeah, but that could be a really good project. They're very good at doing that, having their own assemblies and figuring that out. But yeah, Lawrence, you opened up a really good can of worms.
That's not a can of worms. That's not a can of worms. That's wisdom. That is learned wisdom. That's not can of
I
worms.
know that.
It's a reality.
You know,
check.
Reality check. Gut check.
indoor golfing, indoor tennis, pickleball, right?
It'd be full all the time.
All the time, right? And we're just missing out on these things. And I think we have to rethink how we provide it. Like, does it actually have to have, you know, physical structure? Like I was saying, like the big white blow up facilities, right? They have all over the prairies. They're good in all weather. They're great. Good picture from actually.
Comment that I'll make on all this, Lawrence, because I'm not going to repeat what everybody else said because I agree with them. I wish I could remember the exact date, but it was one of the 2 meetings in May where the young people came. Just take 5 minutes and just fast forward it until the presentation.
Okay.
Those young people came in totally prepared. They had cost estimates. They had people that were willing to help them fundraise. And they're like, I don't know, grade 10, 11, and 12 students. It was amazing, wasn't it, Sue?
Mhm.
It was, you were really proud to see the young people. And we asked them to stay, and some of them even stayed for part of the meeting. Yeah,
Very good.
so it was very good. Yeah.
Thanks, Lawrence. We needed that. We needed to hear that.
Is there any other
I
questions?
think he's over his 5 minutes.
You know what?
It was the best question period I've been at.
Good discussion, very good discussion, so.
You became a delegation, so you'll be a retro delegation.
Well, we were
Well, I
engaged
told you
in
we
as
could
well.
be done.
We were back and forth.
That was good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Thank you. There's no in-camera agenda items for this meeting, so,
Move we adjourn.
well, we have to say when the next meeting is.
Oh, shit.
Patty, are you going to stay for more?
February 7th, we've adopted the schedule.
Thank you, Chair. Have a good one.
You're very welcome.
What she said.
She said.
Oh, God. Call for adjournment?
So moved.
I already did that.
Okay,
Well,
all
I'm
in
doing-
favor then?
Point of order?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have no second there?
The disorder.
I second.
Yeah.
Best of the season to you have some fun.
It's not all.
Chair, you need to do some other stuff here. Manager Chirico brought up something.
Oh,
It
was good.
I'll just say best of the season.
Yeah, I just,
Christmas, Joe.